Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts. And in today's video, we're going to be making this lidded box with a drop-down front. And inside we have three cantilever style trays. I've just filled mine with a few crafty bits just so you can see how it comes together. My trays are 3 inches square and 1 inch high. So I've just put these in to show you what you could fit into the trays, and I think this makes a lovely gift box as well as a lovely storage box. So let me show you how I put this box together. We're going to make the box 3 trays high. You can obviously make yours as many trays as you want. I'm starting with a piece of cardstock which is 7 inches square. We're making these as a reinforced style tray, and on all four sides score at 1 inch and 2 inches. Fold and burnish along all of the score lines. And before we go any further, on each side, pull up along the second score line from the edge and fold over the first score line. And just check that the reinforcement element sits neatly up against the base and you haven't got any overhang at the bottom where the top of this section here is going to butt up against the base. Before we start gluing the box together, now is your opportunity to slice off a piece along these edges if necessary. So I'm going to fold over and pull up the sides on each of the four sides and just make sure that I've scored sharply and there's no overhang. We're now going to do our cutting to create the tray. And you want to make sure that you do cut and remove the score lines as much as you can, because it will give a neater edge. Move along to the second vertical score line and cut up through the first horizontal to the second horizontal. Rotate 90 degrees. I'm going to just move that section out of the way and cut up the outside score line to remove that outside rectangle. So we now look like this. Rotate back, cut up the first vertical to the horizontal and remove the outside square. And take a wedge from the ends of the side glue tab. It doesn't matter what order you do your cutting of your score lines in, but you want to end up with your glue tab here and these three outer squares have been removed. So repeat that on all four sides. So this is our tray. If you're going to have DSP added to the outside of your tray pieces, you want to add those on now. But bear in mind the bottom tray is going to be adhered into a cover and you will only see the front panel. We're now going to work on the trays in two sets, depending on how many trays you're going to have. The first and third tray, in my case, or the top and bottom tray, are going to have 4 holes in, and my middle tray is going to have a total of 8 holes. I'm going to flip my tray over and work on the reverse. We're going to add a hole 1/2 inch from the top edge and 1/2 inch across between the middle of the sections. I'm going to make the mark for a hole in this right hand section. I've got my T-square ruler butted up with the top edge of this flap. I'm going to take a second ruler and lie it across at the 1/2 inch mark on the bottom ruler. Lie my ruler across with a full inch on my score line and make a pencil mark at 1/2 inch. So my pencil mark is 1/2 inch down from the top edge and 1/2 inch in from the outside edge. Now, if you think you're going to be able to get through 2 layers of cardstock with whatever method you're going to use to make your holes, you'll only need to make the pencil marks on the two outside sections because you'll be able to fold it over and punch through both pieces. If you think you're going to need to cut each hole independently, you can either measure through each section 1/2 inch down and 1/2 inch across. Alternatively, add your hole into this section, tuck this inside, and then use the hole in the outside piece to make a hole on the inside piece. I'll show you both methods. It might make a little more sense. I'm going to move across to this outside edge again, line up my T ruler with the score line, line my second ruler across the top at the 1/2 inch mark, line the full inch up and make a pencil mark at 1/2 inch. So I've now got the two options. You choose what works with you. I can either add my hole into this section here with my screw punch, fold this piece over to the inside and mark with a pencil through the hole and re-punch with my screw punch, and my two holes line up. Alternatively, I can fold the piece over and punch through both pieces of cardstock with my screw punch. Bear in mind, if you have added DSP onto any of these sides, you will have a layer of DSP to punch through as well. So on the top and bottom trays, regardless of how many trays you'll have, you're going to have 4 holes, like so, along one section. For the middle tray or trays, you'll need to create 8 holes. I'm going to turn this piece around and I'm going to add an additional 4 holes. And I'm just going to point out the reason I've added the holes into these particular sides of the tray, the same sections with the tab here, is otherwise when the box comes together, if I'd had the holes into this side, I would have then had to add an extra hole into the tabs as well. So it's just made life easier as far as putting the holes in and the construction of the box. I'm now going to go ahead and cut out the rest of my trays. So I have 2 trays which have got 4 holes in and 1 tray which is going to have 8. I've added the DSP on now. This is the base box and I've chosen to add DSP onto one side only, which is going to be the front element of the tray. My middle box, which has got the 8 holes, I've added DSP to the 4 sides, and the same with the top tray, which has got 4 holes on it. I've added the DSP onto 4 sides. And when you add your DSP, particularly if you're using directional paper as I am, think about how the tray is going to come together and make sure that you stick your directional paper the right way up. So now we can go ahead with the construction of our trays, and we're going to do a simple construction by adding glue onto the small glue tabs. Pull up the sides of the tray. Make sure you get a nice neat right angle and repeat that on all 4 sides. I'm going to now just make sure that the reinforced sides fit nicely inside. You can see here that I haven't cut the score line away properly, and what that means is when I push that side down and push the next side up against it, they're not going to butt against each other nicely. So do make sure that you cut away the score lines properly, and I'm going to work my way around and where necessary, cut along the score lines or cut a slight wedge from the ends of each of these reinforcement sections. So here's my 3 trays which are sitting nice and neatly on top of each other. And because we've made a reinforced style tray, they're very sturdy sitting on top of one another. We're now going to make the straps or the hinges, whatever you want to call them. which are going to join up the boxes on the sides and create the cantilever effect. For a 3-tier box, you'll need to create 4 straps. The straps I've created are 2 3/4 inches long by 1/2 inch. I've rounded off the corners, as you can see. What I would say is think about what your box is for. Is your box just for a gift and you expect it to then be thrown away, or do you think it's something someone might keep and then use for storage? Because I think my box might get a lot of use, in fact, I might keep it in my craft room, I've doubled up my straps. So I've actually cut 8 pieces of cardstock and then adhered 2 together. You may want to add your holes into one piece, to one of the straps, glue the second strap onto the back, and then use your first hole as a guideline for your punch method to punch through both pieces of cardstock. Alternatively, depending on what you're using to create your holes, you may be able to punch through 2 pieces. I've created my holes 1/4 inch in from the top edge and 1/4 inch across, and I use my rulers in exactly the same way as I did when I created the holes in the side panels of the box. So we're now going to add the straps onto the side of the box. I'm going to take the base box, which has got the one piece of DSP on the front, take a strap, line up the holes and put a brad through, split the pins at the bottom, flip that around and do the same on the other side. Take my second box, so my middle box, this is the one that started with 8 holes, pull the strap up and line up the hole with the back hole on the middle box. Again, put my brad through and slot that into place. Flip it over and do the same on the other side. So my strap's going to go to the hole at the back. So this now comes across and sits in front like so. And then I can take my top box, sit it so that the hole is at the back. Take my third strap, it's going to go through the hole at the front of the middle box. Repeat on the other side, add the top box and join the top box onto the strap and do the same on the other side. So the boxes are all sitting on top of one another and they all come down like so. So that's the cantilever tray. We're now going to make the box holder. I have one piece which is 3 1/4 by 9 3/4 and along the long side score at 3 1/4 and 6 1/2. Fold and burnish along the score lines. So this piece is going to wrap around the trays like so. We'll have a base which is 4 1/4 squared. On all 4 sides score at 1/2 inch. And then we'll have a drop down front piece which is 3 1/4 by 2 1/2. Take the base piece and fold and burnish all of the score lines. Take your scissors and cut away the intersecting corners on all 4 sides and cut a wedge from the ends of the glue tabs. Take your base and we will add glue onto 3 sides of the base, and this piece is going to sit and wrap around the base like so, and then we will add glue to the last glue tab and this will be adhered to the drop down front like so. So use whichever adhesive is your preference. I'm going to start by adding the outer 3 sections onto the base. Add glue to the last tab and sit the drop down front into place. Make sure that's aligned. Burnish that down and that will sit like so. Now, if you want to add DSP to the inside section, I would suggest you do that now because we are now going to add the cantilever box into place. So I've added my DSP onto the inside. I'm going to add glue to the base of the bottom tray. Make sure the straps are in the right orientation. So the hole on the bottom tray is at the front. Open out the tray and sit the base tray into place. Try and get that equidistant and get that lined up. Once I'm happy that's in place, I'll lift the two trays up. Just make sure it's in the right place. And then when I'm happy with that, pull down the other two boxes and burnish down the base with my score tool. Whilst that's drying, we'll make the lid. For the lid, I have a piece which is 5¼ inches square. Take a scrap of cardstock and fold it in half. Place it in the top left-hand corner of the scoreboard. Remove the cardstock and score at 1 inch. And repeat that process on all 4 sides. And by moving the cardstock along slightly, it's going to mean that the centre section here is going to be slightly larger than we need to fit on the base box. Fold and burnish along all of the score lines. We're going to make a simple tray, cut up the vertical to the first horizontal. To create your corner glue tab, take a wedge from the ends and repeat that process on all 4 corners. Take your glue, add the glue to one of the corner glue tabs, pull the corners together and try to get a nice neat right angle. And do that on all 4 sides to create your lid. And now if we take our box, fold up the front flap, we should find that our lid fits nicely on the top and holds the drop down front in place. I'm now going to go ahead with my final elements of decoration and then I'll come back and show you the final piece. Here's the box. All of the decorative papers are from this Making Memories pad. This is a first edition pad from drkcrafts.co.uk. I have added some elements just to show how well the box comes together and how it can be used. As you can see, I've decorated on all of the sides and all of the internal sides of the trays. So the first one comes down, the next one comes down and can sit on top or they can pull forward, and then you have your final tray. So this could be in this profile. Alternatively, they can sit like so. And the lid just slots nicely on the top like so. And overall, I'm really happy with how this box has come out. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And until next time, thanks for watching.